Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the What Fills Your Cup podcast. I am your host, Riley Alexander, and we are going to start this episode off with stating the obvious. Yes, I have to state the obvious, okay? I was wrong. And I learned from my mistake. You know what? Better now than 6 months or a year down the road, but you might be listening to this episode on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, which is so cool. I received a lot of feedback, and the number one piece of advice, maybe I could say, or comment I received was, why isn't it on Spotify? Why isn't it on Apple? Just put it on everything. And I was very stubborn. I was like, nope, I just want it on YouTube. I am only going to put it on YouTube. I really want to try to make this a YouTube talk show. However, now that I have put it on both Spotify and Apple Music, wow, talk about a game changer, okay? I just received so many positive comments when I announced that I was putting it on Spotify and Apple Podcast. A lot of people wanted to be able to listen to my episodes in the car, maybe at the gym, on a walk, which is really cool that you want to hear my voice. Oh my gosh, I hope you don't think it's annoying. I heard a lot of the feedback, like I said, and I thought, you know what? Maybe it's not reaching the audience that I could get if I put it across all platforms and not just specified it only on YouTube. I obviously am still going to be posting all of my episodes on YouTube. That is where my heart lies. But I do also want to reach as many people as I possibly can in the messages that I discuss and talk about. So now you have it on Spotify and Apple Music. I am so happy to be sitting back in my studio. If you are watching this on video, which you can get on YouTube and Spotify, then hello. I hope you are doing well, I say with a smile on my face. I am excited for today's episode. I'm excited for every solo episode, I realized, because it's just me and the mic. I get to just sit down, yap, something I love to do and something that comes very easily to me. Could be a little sliver of my ADHD and I just got a lot of thoughts in my brain, so now I have a place where I can execute those thoughts, but here we are. Today's episode is exciting because it is foreshadowing for my guest who is coming on Sunday. And today's episode, we are going to be discussing the power of writing. Now, we gotta bring it back. And, sometimes when I repeat myself, whole other side note, I feel as though you guys might think it's a glitch. I am a glitch. I'm a walking glitch, okay? It's just how I speak. It's how I talk. It's how I communicate. And either get used to it or don't. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to figure out some editing things somehow, but here we are. To start off with my experiences of writing, I wanted to bring it back to a very young age of Riley. This circles all the way back to grade 2, okay? And you're probably thinking, what the heck did you write in grade 2 that has you talking about the power of writing? Well, when I was in grade 2, my mom actually gave me my very first journal. And she didn't call it a diary, she didn't call it a notebook, she called it a journal. And I remember her giving it to me and just saying, this is for you if you ever want to write anything, or if you want to write down your thoughts, or just simply ideas, whatever you want this to be, it's your journal. Mom and dad can't look at it. Robin, that's my sister's name, can't look at it. And this is just for your eyes, and you can write whatever you want down. And I have to say, shout out mom, okay? Thank you so much, because to this day, I'm now 25 years old, I still have a journal. I have also kept every single one of my journals since grade 2. And I have to say, wow. Elementary school was a hit, okay? Sometimes I reread them just to look back of like, where was my brain when I was 6? And the cutest thing ever is that I would write the date and I would write age, name, as if it was an assignment for school. And I just think that's the cutest thing ever because I look back now and I always giggle at some of the things that I read. For example, I have this one journal entry from grade 2 and it has stuck with me because I laughed out loud. It was like, today during recess on the playground, this person said that my face was the backboard for the basketball hoop and I cried. That was something I wrote. Scene over, next day. Hey, I'm back. Welcome back to my journal. Like, are you kidding? Come on. They had to have known I was going to start a podcast the second I got that journal. I will say I'm so happy that my mom introduced me to journaling at a young age because I was able to articulate my thoughts, my feelings. Maybe it was about what happened during recess on the playground. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was about how I was feeling about arguing at home with my sister or getting in trouble in class because I was undiagnosed ADHD and super distracted all the time. Doesn't matter, whatever it was. I am so happy that I had a safe space that I could come home and write down all of my thoughts, all of my feelings, and know that it was for my eyes and my eyes only. If I wanted to go back and read it, which I rarely ever do, I could do so. But again, no one's ever gonna read those. Maybe one day if I become famous, I'll publish my journal entry of my face being the backboard at recess. But if I don't, in my closet at my parents' house is where it will remain. Now, as I've gotten older, I have obviously changed the way I journal and the way I write. It is still being able to articulate my feelings, but I also use it a lot as goal setting. At the beginning of every year specifically, I always write down my goals for that year. And some of them can be so what I believe are out of reach, or some of them can be very small and very achievable goals, but then to be able to look back and check off, wow, I forgot I did this, or I forgot that was one of my goals this year. I can't believe I did that, or oh my gosh, the goal that I thought was so out of reach actually came true. I love being able to do that and look back, and I do that for everything, for my podcast specifically too. I have written down goals that I would love to achieve this year with this podcast, and some of them I do believe are completely out of reach, but I hope to achieve them and I will work my ass off until I can. I just find it really soothing is maybe a word I would use. Writing down my goals, pen and paper, and being able to look back on them and say, I took the time out of my day to sit down and write those goals out. And whether I achieved them or whether I didn't achieve them, regardless, I love that I have the goals to start with. And I also have dreams and I envision things for myself. And I think that also is something that keeps me motivated, is being able to one day look back on those goals and say, wow, past Riley didn't know if she was ever going to do that. And present Riley is sitting here telling past Riley, you did it. Now, if you didn't know, I actually went to university and I studied communications. I have a degree in communications, media, and technology, and that was maybe the best field of education I could have ever put myself in. I did a lot of writing when I was in university. It's a huge component of that program, and it's something that I actually went to school and really enjoyed doing. Now, some of you might look at writing as a chore, or some people either have the brain of, wow, writing a paper is so easy, whereas other people might have the brain of, wow, doing math and science is so easy. That is not my brain at all. Math and science is a foreign language to me, but writing is something that I was able to do very easily. It came very naturally to me, and I'm really glad that I still to this day, and even this podcast of what I'm doing, I am doing some form of writing. Whether it be my questions, whether it be my descriptions, whether it be a layout of how I want an episode to go. A whole other side note, I actually have been starting to lay out my solo episodes because some of my editing, guys, when I'm editing back an episode, I think in my head, Where was I going with this? What was I talking about? And I just have to try to cut it to make it sound like one coherent story. So I hope I'm doing an all right job at that. But again, I'm still learning how to do all of this podcast stuff. So I always say, bear with me. This is a collaborative learning experience. But that's not the point of this video. The video is about writing. Anyways, I still do writing on my everyday, daily basis. And I'm so grateful that I went into studies and a program at university that allowed me to have that creative side of me flourish and grow and learn and understand a little bit more of writing. I really wanted to talk about why I believe writing is something that is very beneficial, and maybe if you are considering starting to write, or maybe you have a notebook that's empty at home and you are just thinking, what can I do with this? I hope that maybe today's episode can give you a few ideas. Now, I believe that writing provides a space where you can have clarity on your thoughts. You know, it could be in the form of poetry, it could be in the form of bullet points, it could be in the form of a few sentences just to say, what the heck is going on? This is on my mind. I need to write this down to get it off my chest. I think writing and journaling, for example, is a really great way to either get your creative side flowing, or it can also be used as a reflective period of time in terms of decision making, or for me and what I just touched on, goal setting and manifestation, if that is something that you believe in. I just think that it is overall a really safe space for you and only you to have some downtime, get clarity on your thoughts, let some emotions out that you've been bottling up. A pen and paper can do so much for you. And it has done so much for me in my past, in my childhood, in my present, and I know it will do wonders for me in my future as well. I think that writing is different for everyone, and there's no guide or textbook on how to write in a way that is perfect for exactly you and who you are. But I do think starting somewhere, it could be one sentence a day. When I don't know what I want to write down for that day, I always write down gratitude. And I practice gratitude and write 3 things down that I am grateful for every day. It's simple, it takes 5 minutes, and it is something that allows me to remind myself to be grateful for all that I have, everything that I do, and just simplicity. And the simplicity of life at times can be taken for granted. So I try to remind myself to be extra, extra grateful for all of the little things that I have going on in the life of Rye. I think something else that might get overlooked in terms of writing is that it can be very relaxing. It can be very calming and soothing. It can also help cope with stress, or if you're feeling anxious about a certain situation, sometimes writing it down and talking yourself through it. If you don't have the means to be able to go to therapy, writing something down and explaining a situation. There's been so many times where I've journaled certain situations and then my last sentence is, wow, I actually think I just figured out my issue. But it should allow you to have a form of release. And I think that's a good word I would use. It can be a form of an escape where you can just sort through your emotions in a safe way. Writing as a whole can be taken in so many different avenues, and it can be taken as maybe writing letters to your future self, or jotting down little things that happened throughout your day, or something positive that happened throughout your day, once a day, writing that down. And then you can look back and see, oh, I forgot that happened that day, but it was something that made me smile, and so I wrote it down. Like, that is so fulfilling. And I just think that writing gets overlooked because we have a device in our hands and we can just text and we can just shoot a message or write down something in our notes app. Use writing as a time to turn off the phone and connect with yourself and connect with who you are for a brief moment. It can be 5 minutes, it can be 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, however long you want to write. I think that it's a great way as well to have time to disconnect from your phone, but connect with you and who you are. Another form of writing that I actually really like is poetry. And I read a lot of poetry. I just think it's very calming and it's simple and it makes you think. And I also like to write my own poetry. I would never publish those. I would never, ever, ever have anyone read them. But that's the beauty of it, is that I can make up a few lines of something that I think is groundbreaking, and it's probably not, but poetry as well for me has been a really great escape in terms of letting my emotions out in maybe a deeper way, or maybe a way that I didn't know I needed to release those emotions or those feelings. And they could be about past experiences. They could be about how I'm feeling right now. Writing down my emotions in maybe a form of a song. I used to be a big song kid. I had books of songs, okay? I would put on full-blown performances for one of my best friends growing up. He actually reminded me of this like a few weeks ago when I saw him. He was like, "Do you remember when you would sing me your book of songs?" I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I don't have the voice of an angel." I really want to throw that out there too. But I would write songs, and I guess poetry now for me is a little bit of healing that inner child and getting my song pop star girly pop era out there. I just find that writing can be a huge escape. And it has been an escape and continues to be an escape for me. It is something that I absolutely love to do. And I just wanted to share a few ideas and the benefits in my eyes of writing and why it has helped me. And maybe this will inspire you to start writing at some capacity. I really do believe that is something that could positively help you. And at the end of the day, these episodes are giving you tips and tricks and tools and talking about the things that work for me. And writing is something that has heavily influenced and impacted my life positively. So I just wanted to share that with you guys today. I guess now I gotta say, do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. So don't forget to follow me on those platforms as well as Instagram page. While you're at it, if you want to rate the show, that would be amazing, or leave some comments, feedback, topics you want to hear from me. Anything would be so much appreciated. Please be aware that I do have feelings, so if it's something mean, I'm probably going to get my feelings hurt, but that's okay. I don't pay my therapist the big bucks for nothing. If you haven't heard it today, I love you, and do not forget to tell someone you love them, because you never know who needs it a little extra. I love you guys so much, and I will see you on Sunday for another episode.